Good morning everyone and welcome back to another video. How are you all doing today? I've realised I've not put the chat on screen. I'll do it right now. Let me know if you can hear me as well, nice and loud and clear and all that kind of stuff. I'm sorry as well for keeping you all waiting. I'm parenting, tiring, knackering. You know, as you've got kids, exhausted day to day. Trying to get on, but just knackered. But I'm here now to talk about Manchester City. Look at that. I've got all the wrong things scrolling across the bottom as well. Let me get rid of that. Manchester City versus Southampton, because that's a big game. Of course, the quarterfinals, the Carabao quarterfinals is tonight. And I can't wait for it. Ruben's in the chat saying, sorry, Dad. It's not at all. It is his fault, actually. So, apology accepted. You know, it is the little lad's fault. It's not actually. Ruben, of course, that's the wife. I needed some extra sleep. I was so tired. It is what it is sometimes. Sometimes you are just that level of tired. But either way, tonight is the Carabao Cup quarter-final. I'm looking forward to this game. I kept thinking it was tomorrow. In my head, I was like, oh my God, it's today. I was genuinely that tired, hence why the preview has come a little bit later than usual. I can't wait for it, though. I can't wait for it because it's the Carabao Cup, and I absolutely love this competition. I unironically love it. I genuinely think it's one of the best tournaments. I just love the fact that we could win a trophy potentially in February and March. I think it's a wonderful time to go to Wembley and hopefully get some success. Fingers crossed City can find their form tonight and get through to, hopefully get through towards another final with potentially one of Forest or Wolves or United or Newcastle waiting in the next round, which is difficult. It's difficult, isn't it? You know, we'll see how that goes, but fingers crossed we can actually get through to that. I think we should be all right. But fingers crossed we will see. Now, of course, things don't look too great for Southampton right now. They are currently sat down at the bottom of the Premier League table. Bring it up on screen. You know, they are down there at the bottom. It's not good, is it, in the world of Southampton? I mean, that's a struggling Southampton side. Where are they? They don't even fit on my screen. I've got to edit it a little bit to fit it on. They are 20th with 5 losses there. I mean, let's have a look at their form in general. It isn't good. They beat Palace the other day in the third round of the FA Cup, but before that they lost to Forest, they lost to Fulham, they lost to Brighton, they beat Lincoln, we'll ignore that, lost to Liverpool. I mean, who loses to Liverpool these days? Lost to Newcastle, lost to Palace. Hassan Hull, of course, has moved on, and they've got a manager, and I don't know much about, to be honest. You guys could tell me more about. It's Nathan Jones, isn't it? Is it Nathan Jones? It is. I don't know much about him at all, but either way, he's got a hell of a job to try and keep Southampton in this, man, because it's not easy. Their form has been absolutely diabolical, and we beat him 4-0 back in October as well. That was a good day. Cancelo, Foden, Mahrez, Haaland getting the goals. I don't know what the lineup's going to be. That day, the lineup looked like this for City. Ederson, Akanji, Diaz, Ake, Cancelo, Rodri, Bernardo, Mahrez, De Bruyne, Foden and Haaland. But things have changed since then, and City have changed since then, so we'll have to see how it goes. It's very difficult though, man. We'll have to see how it goes, man. But either way, Southampton they're not really a massive threat right now, which makes them maybe dangerous because they've got absolutely nothing to lose, Southampton. They really don't. I mean, their recent performances, they have not been good. They really haven't. I mean, the other day, they did beat Palace, which was good for them, though they weren't the better team in that. Ward-Prowse in particular, I think what would have seen as a lucky goal, I think, if it's the one I'm thinking of. Only 13 shots for Palace, but only 6 for Southampton. At the same time, not particularly impressive, but they still managed to get the victory. This is how they lined up the other day, you know. They've changed Southampton size over the past few years. They are undergoing a little bit of a change. A lot of familiar names that we used to know have moved on, you know. But still, they have got some quality. Of course, there is the Manchester City spine as well. Now, the breaking news like yesterday and today is that they've taken Manchester City's academy director, former Blackburn winger Jason Wilcox, a lovely man, I've met him before. He's now going to be their sporting director. Of course, as well, he took City's chief academy scout and made him their chief scout, which is Joe Shields, another man that I absolutely love. Joe's a top bloke, and they've signed a bunch of Man City players. They signed Edozie. The other day, Romeo Lavia was finally back on the bench, and of course they've got Gavin Bazzuno in goal. So they have got a very Manchester City kind of like tinge to them these days, which is unarguable. Like it's going to be interesting to see, how they kind of line up. It could be that Romeo Lavia, who's back from injury, could play. Sam Edozie, who is a really good player, by the way, Edozie. I really rate him, and we've seen him, of course, in the Community Shield last season. Edozie's a fantastically gifted player. He's the kind of person that could cause you trouble on the counter-attack, you know. And you look at like Southampton, someone like Che Adams is the kind of guy, or Adam Armstrong, who will score a goal despite not being in the best of form. They got Juan Larios too. That's a good point, Miles. I forgot about him. They got Larios, Lavia, Bazunu. Dozy. They're taking Joe Shields and Jason Wilcox. They do look like they're trying to evolve into something different. The only thing, of course, is that the form hasn't been good and they haven't been playing good, and it looks like they are going to go down potentially. I mean, they're currently on 12 points right down at the bottom. It ain't looking good for them. And they are missing a few players potentially, I think. For what I can tell, I think Stuart Armstrong, he's not going to be available. Livramento, Larios, Via Walcott, McCarthy are all doubts. I'm reading now the team news for them. Lavia, back of course, he could be involved. I think Che Adams will probably play for them. He's probably, he's scored quite a few in the Carabao this year. I think he's scored like 5 already, which has done really, really well for him. So he'll probably be. While Orsic as well, they've signed Orsic, haven't they? He could actually probably play for them potentially as well. I don't know much about him, but he's a January addition for them, so we'll have to see. I think they're also out with Bella Kotchap as well, which is a bit of a blow for them as well, given he's one of their key players. So they're probably going to have something like, Bazunu. Not too different to this the other day. Like, it probably will be that back four. Maybe Walker Peters will come in or something like that. Maybe Ward-Prowse and Lavia. Ward-Prowse would definitely play, I reckon. It could be... I'm looking at the team. Maitland-Niles could play. Maybe we'll see a Dozy, Shea Adams, Adam Armstrong. Something like that, expecting what we'll see from Southampton, which is not the best, but it's not, it's not terrible at the same time. We'll have to see, won't we? If we go on to City's press conference news from Guardiola. Guardiola was very chatty. He was very chatty in the press conference. He was trolling as well. He said, I have a few ideas about the United game. Ridiculous, but I still didn't, he was trolling there. He's going to do something crazy, isn't he? But we're looking forward to this. He talked about Chelsea game. He said, I would say the game against Chelsea made a lot of changes for one reason. How tired I saw some players were after the game. For the trip, we arrived too late and I saw the players tired in training and these ones that didn't play against Chelsea. He talked about Kevin as well. Players play a lot of games in the last years. De Bruyne for 4 or 5 days doesn't play. Will he lose something? I don't think so. He talked a lot, once again, about body language. He said, we're in 4 competitions, but I'm not saying we're going to win it all. Every season we fight as far as possible in all, otherwise we couldn't have won 4 Carabao Cups. We're still in the Carabao Cup and FA Cup with difficult draws. From day one, I said we're going to try and win them all, knowing that it's impossible to win all 4. No one in the whole history has done it. I don't have experience of a Winter World Cup and I can't handle it. Handle it by the body language of the players and how they perform on the pitch. Day by day, they play in the next one. I'm concerned about how they play the last game, how the guys who didn't play train after it, and how the body language is there. I think the comments about the World Cup thing are particularly interesting. I think Guardiola's admitting that this year's circumstances, they're a very unique set of circumstances. To lose your players for a month, to lose that rhythm, and then to them come back with levels of mental fatigue due to the expectations of their country being on their shoulders, and then trying to get them going again while battling on four fronts. It's very, very, very difficult to do. Honestly, it's really difficult. So we have to be really patient with Manchester City this season because it's a weird season. And naturally, Man City have players with more international, responsibilities, given that they're a better team. So it's just one of those things where it's a weird season and it's unprecedented territory. It really is. We don't know how the players are going to react to this after a World Cup in the middle of the campaign, and it does make a difference. And yes, it makes a difference for everyone, but once again, I had to repeat that point. City have more players at the World Cup than most, so that does eventually start to play its toll on the players. So Guardiola's been honest there. Play to win, but you can't guarantee that you're going to win all of them. You can't. He talked a lot about United game. He said, I'm sorry, but now the Carabao Cup is more important than United. I actually agree, technically. United is sort of more important, but the Carabao is. We're in the quarterfinals, man. Once you're in the quarterfinals, you got to take it seriously because you're 2 games away from a final. Well, in this instance, 3 games. Because are they still doing the double leg thing? They are, aren't they? Stupid. Much more important, we want to reach the semi-final in one competition. There are a lot of Premier League games to play, and the other competitions are the same. Especially given how early it is in the season still. I know it feels like the season is late, but it isn't. It's still relatively early. He said it's about creating a good group of players that will push each other to win every single game. That's all true. He talked a lot about Calvin Phillips. Phillips, of course, has been a talking point. He's almost certainly starting tonight, I reckon. He said, Calvin has to fight with Rodri. For the benefit of us all, Rodri can't sleep. He has to have the feeling that someone is close to him. Can Calvin win the fight? Why not? It depends on him and how he's able to fight with Rodri. That's why big clubs have to have these options. Rodri knows a little bit more what we want to do. In the quality of the long balls, Calvin is better than Rodri. That's interesting, by the way. In shorter spaces and first actions, is Rodri's better. Everyone has their own quality, but they can play together, especially when we have two holding midfielders. We need Calvin. I've said from day one, when he didn't train after World Cup, it's because I said I don't want him to get injured, so it's better to wait a few days. So there we are, man. Like, Guardiola views that Calvin Phillips' long balls might be better, and do you know what? He might be right. Calvin Phillips is a fucking phenomenal diagonal passer. He can ping those long passes so well, and like, I do think that's one of his kind of core strengths as a player. And I actually think people have been very down on Calvin Phillips, but I still... You see it a lot. Don't sign English players, which is borderline xenophobic and also nonsense, given the fact that, you know, John Stones and Kyle Walker have been two of the best defenders in world football for God knows how long now. But I also think, even though he's not had a great start, Calvin Phillips, look, if he can find his way to get fit, he's a really good footballer. He's a good footballer, man. We haven't signed some guy who can't hack it at this level. In my opinion, he's a really, really good player. We need to get him fit. Like Ake, we need to give him a little bit of time and adapt into this team, because he's got a lot of ability. And ultimately, is he a good backup for Rodri if he stays fit? I think he is. I think he is potentially, and we need to help him improve. But look. It's weird, though, that this is going to be his first competitive start. His first competitive start for Manchester City Football Club, Calvin Phillips, and it's already in January, man. Mid-January, which is not particularly good, is it, man? We need him to start playing more, and we need him to start finding that form. I think he's got it in him. I really do. I really do think he's got it in him. And what was he talking about else? What else was he saying? He talked about Calvin more. Said, I'm pretty sure he's frustrated when you come to a new place and you can't play. The important thing was the shoulder after surgery and the World Cup. Now he feels fine. It's just a question of time and minutes. He understands where the ball is coming. He's strong in the air and he has quality to break lines to wingers and inside. He has to improve the reception for central defenders, but that is a question of time. At Leeds, he moved more lateral, but he has the ability to do it. But he defended him as well. He said, come on, he's a national team player. In the Euros, when England reached the final in 2021, he played amazingly. He had the mentality to train with Marcelo Bielsa, with the resilience and fight. These lines here, by the way, like, I think these were probably key to why City signed him. Being obviously being so pivotal for England with the pressure, and of course Bielsa, Guardiola would have appreciated that, and he's absolutely right as well. Guardiola said, I believe he could settle for us, and I'm convinced it's going to happen. With the run of games we have, we're going to use him. Ultimately, I think Guardiola is right on all that. I think he is. I mean, fingers crossed he starts to find his range. Now, the big question for you guys in the chat right now is one I don't have the answer to. Guardiola did say that, this game isn't more important than United right now. Is it more important than United? And if you're taking Guardiola literally, how do we think he's going to line up this team, man? Is he going to play a strong team? Is he going to make loads of changes still? Is there going to be a few players rested? Does Haaland come back into it, Do we see a few changes? Does Rodri play? Well, Rodri doesn't play. The only one we know is going to play is Calvin Phillips. He is absolutely 100% going to play. I also think Ortega will play as well. Ortega gets the cup competitions. Did he play in the last round of the cup competitions, Ortega? I can't remember. Let me have a double check. Let me check. I normally remember this stuff, but my head is tired, man. He did. There we go. This was the team for the last round. Haaland played, by the way. It's Liverpool. Palmer did. Mahrez did. Gundogan. It was a strong team we played. It was Liverpool we played against, admittedly, but it was still a strong team, So we could see Guardiola go pretty strong with this, and wouldn't be surprised if he did at all. So we know he's going to take it seriously, but how seriously he's going to do it, that is the question. So back over here, we know Ortega's going to play. We know Calvin Phillips is going to play. Is there anyone else? Who's almost nailed on? Does Alvarez start over Haaland? I cannot decide if he does. I would say... Oh, who's nailed on for this game, man? Like, who's nailed on? I would possibly say Akanji, maybe? I don't know. Like, maybe Grealish will play. Gundo and Rico. Maybe Lewis play. Yeah, I would say Rico Lewis. I would think Walker will play against United, personally. Though you might decide that Walker was so good the other day that he needs to start here. Palmer plays tonight. I think Palmer might play on the right tonight with Mahrez sitting this one out. Does anyone else think Mahrez will be rested? Maybe... maybe a Kanji and Ake at centre-back. I think I would agree with that, actually. Do we all agree Cancelo maybe at left-back? I think he needs the game time, personally. I think Cancelo... Foden, potentially. I think Foden could play... I think De Bruyne is going to start, I think he'll start this game, personally. And then maybe Gundogan. Grealish, something like that potentially. It's so hard to say, isn't it? I would probably start Gomez 2 miles, but I think Cancelo's probably going to get the game. It's very hard to choose. Like you just don't know how he's going to take it. I think Gundogan's definitely going to start, and I think De Bruyne will play. I think they'll try and get him ready for the United game, KDB, and he's not played, for a few days. So maybe, yeah, I think Haaland's going to play as well. Actually, I think Haaland will play. Sorry, Alvarez. Would it be Palmer? Would it be Foden? Would Foden over here be on the right potentially? Could it be Foden on the right this time? Palmer go to the bench. It's so hard to predict. Honestly, I have no idea. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's very, very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. KDB cannot play full with United in 3 days. Maybe he can't. Maybe KDB does sit on the bench, maybe. But then Guardiola did talk about him being available potentially. Oh, 12:30 against United the weekend, Ryan. But he did say this game is more important. So if he's not as strong, maybe it is Palmer. Maybe it's Grealish. Maybe he plays Bernardo. Maybe it's Alvarez if it's a little bit less strong. And then maybe over here, maybe it's something like this. That's strong, but I don't think it's crazy strong. Maybe it's something like that. Rodri's definitely going to rest. I think De Bruyne plays, though. I think De Bruyne does play. I just can't predict it. I can't predict it. We've got to be careful, of course. It's a very hard thing to predict. I will be live tonight, by the way, for the watch along as per usual. So please do come and join me. But I want City to take this seriously. I want to take this seriously tonight. I want City to go for it. I value this competition. I do honestly believe that winning breeds winning. Success breeds success. If you turn up and you try and win trophies, ultimately you're going to win trophies. And if you've got a good team and you try and win trophies, you will win them. I know it sounds really fucking obvious, but what I mean by that is so many other big teams throw trophies. They go, oh, we'll rotate even at the quarterfinal stage, and we won't take them seriously because we want the Champions League or something instead, or the Premier League top four. And if you don't take them seriously, you won't win them. And that's a good point. Matt said he might start both Haaland and Alvarez. I could see that actually. Maybe like what we played against Forest that time, something like that. Let's see how we played against Forest all that time ago. Where's it gone? The Forest game where you played both of them. Where was it? There we go. So this is how we lined up against Forest. It was like this. Now that would be interesting. We could see something like this here, where we saw Alvarez kind of off Haaland, Foden, Bernardo, Gundogan, Rodri. Obviously it'd be Phillips, but we could see something like this. Wouldn't surprise me, obviously the defence would be different, but we could see Alvarez with Haaland for the first time in a while. Alvarez would deserve it, he would deserve it. Or does he just rest at Haaland for the game of the weekend? But yeah, so what I was saying is I do want, I do want to win it. And yeah, if we lost against, great name Ruben, if we lost against Southampton tonight, I would be disappointed. Yeah, I mean, I understand if you go out to Newcastle or United, that would be even more annoying. But we shouldn't be going against Southampton today, I don't think. We shouldn't do. In my personal opinion, we should be winning this. So we'll have to see. Guys, I'm going to go for tonight. I'm going to go for City comfortable, though. I'm going to go for 3-0 Man City win. Southampton, look, as much as they want to go through to the next round, they'll be looking at this game probably thinking, this is next to impossible. Like, it's so hard right now. How do we beat Man City side that are absolutely flying? We're not flying, but who are better and they've got more confidence than us. They're currently down to 20th for the Premier League. This is a distraction for them. Lavia, of course, will be up for it, and I'm sure Bazunu and Dozy will too. But ultimately, City should be too strong for a struggling Southampton side. I'm expecting us to be in the draw come 10:30 tonight. We should be in the draw. I'm going to go for 3-0 Manchester City. I will be doing a live watch along tonight, so I want you to catch me for that if you can, from 7:30 tonight. It would be good to see you guys there. Please do hit the like button and subscribe. I only need 77 more subscribers to get to 65,000. 77 more. Can we do it today? It'd be wonderful. Come on, hit the subscribe button. Do it right now. In a bit, guys. Bye-bye.